Hey there, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Sunday, January 7th. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the new potential Costco of MJ. We're going to be discussing a new return policy that I found out at one of my local shops. You can return any MJ product, like no questions asked. So we're going to be discussing the retailer that has this return policy, and we'll see if anybody can guess it before I mention it. But this is complete news to me. And like I said, this is the potential Costco of MJ in the making, and they're already a discount retailer. But we'll discuss all of this and my thoughts and opinions on this and what could potentially happen as a result from a long-term, this being a long-term policy, and could other MJ retailers follow suit. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Also, make sure to give us a follow over on X, which is formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So you may have guessed it. The retailer is called Value Buds, and that is a brand of Nova MJ. And we know that SNDL has a business relationship with Nova MJ. And this is a retailer in Alberta that's very prominent. But there's also Cannabis, which is a high tide brand. But essentially, Value Buds is a discount MJ retailer. And this really surprised me because this return policy that they have, they're already a discounted retailer with very, very cheap prices. And the fact that you can return any MJ product, no questions asked. Now get this. I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, oh, as long as it's not opened, what have you, you can return anything. No, this is like a step further than that. Absolute insanity, in my opinion. If you go home, for example, when I was there, I found out they had the new Auxly Back 40 vapes, the all-in-one vapes, right? So I got the Tiki Tang one, and it says 41.65 here on the Ontario MJ store, but at Value Buds, it only cost $34.97, and it's only 5% sales tax. So I think in Ontario, it's 15% sales tax. So imagine they're charging $41.65, and in Alberta, we're only charging $34.97, and we only have to pay 5% tax. So it's super cheap. So I got this, and it's supposed to last for a very long time. And this is a great product so far, and I really enjoyed it. This isn't really a product review video, but I did want to mention to everybody that this is a pretty sweet product, and all-in-one vape, right? And it comes with a USB-C chargeable port, so you can recharge it. But essentially, they have these in the nicotine vapes and things like that. So they're not really new. The concept's not new, but they're bringing it into the MJ world, which is pretty cool. But essentially, they told me when I went into Value Buds here in Edmonton, Alberta, they said, we return, if you don't like anything at all, you can return it, no questions asked. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, well, how would I know? I don't really know if I like it until I open the product. She's like, oh, no problem at all. Like the bud tender working. She said, if you open the product, you can still take it back. And I'm like, so if I open it as long as it's not used? And she's like, no, you can use it. And I'm like, oh, is this like a back 40? I thought she was talking about like maybe this was the back 40 and Auxly MJ, that the manufacturer's policy. I was like, oh, is that a manufacturer policy or your policy? So no, that's a Value Buds policy. And we're a customer first and customer focused company. And I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. I can take this vape out of the package. I can vape it like a few times, and I can take it back, no questions asked, if I don't like it. She said, yep. I'm like, what do you do with the product? And let me know in the comments below if you've ever done this, or if you've heard of this, and I'll get to more about that in just a moment. But I was like, okay, so what do you do with the product after I give it back to you? Like, do you send it back to the manufacturer? Or, it can't be that method, because it can't be that, because you wouldn't, if it's not a manufacturer policy, then, they would just tell you too bad, so sad kind of thing. She said, no, it's just a Value Bud policy. So when you give it back, essentially we put everything in like a bin, and then she mentioned like making a litter out of it and then basically throwing it in the garbage. And I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense. And she's like, it can do it with a pack of pre-rolls. It doesn't matter. Any product, she said. If you go into Value Buds and you don't like any product, it could be a pre-roll, it could be a vape, it could be a bag of flour, anything. If you go in and you try a little bit and you don't like it, they said you can take it back for a full refund, which is just absolutely mind-boggling. And I said, well, how many people actually return, these products And I was like, maybe like considering myself shopping here for multiple years. It's now been 3 years that I've been shopping at Value Buds, and I've never heard of this policy before. And I was like, there's probably a lot of people that never even heard of this policy. And she said, no, you'd be surprised how many people actually do take things back. So I'm just at a loss here I'm in the store, right? I'm trying to get as much information as possible. And I'm like, well, how many, and then one guy was like, oh, I didn't really see that many people return things. And the other guy working, and this girl's like, no, I see it all the time. And I just don't understand. Like, I could understand like a discount, not a discount retailer, like a retailer that's charging, an arm and a leg, and it's pretty expensive. But the fact that it's a discount retailer already selling at unbeatable prices pretty much, and you can take back any product, like this is, let me know in the comments if you think this is sustainable, what you think of this, if you've ever visited any kind of shop that's not Value Buds, have they had a similar policy? I'm definitely going to be asking more. When I go to Canna Cabana next, I'm going to ask if they have a similar policy. I highly doubt it. But this is just crazy to me because I bought multiple products like pre-rolls and things like that they didn't burn very well. So they were pre-rolls, and maybe I thought I got like a dud or something like that, but I bought them multiple times, and they've always burned very, very poorly. And if I knew that, I would have took it back, right? And there were some cases where you buy an infused pre-roll and it was just roll too tight and it wouldn't burn at all. Like even in the wintertime is different because the cold has a different effect on the trichomes, so it doesn't burn as well. But even during the summer, I bought this pre-roll pack and it wouldn't burn. I had to take it home, unroll it, and re-roll it in order to use it because it was just pre-rolled too tightly, right? It was just too tight. So I was just at a loss here, and I'm thinking like, is this the new Costco? Because Costco had a similar policy. You could buy something and return it like within a year, and you could use it and return it like within a year, but I think they're cracking down on that return policy. But this is just crazy to me, and the only reason that they would do this is because they're either A, making money hand over fist, or they think they're going to be the next Costco. I don't know. I'm at a loss here, and I don't know how long this can go on, but personally, I'm going to be looking into this more. I'm going to be finding out at other retailers as well if they offer a similar policy, but that'll be my first question every time I go into a retailer now is, what is your return policy? And this just absolutely blew my mind. And one thing that was pretty cool too is when they printed out the receipt, they now go over the receipt with you, and then they have a stamp that says order verified with customer. So this is a Value Buds thing. So whenever you buy the products, they stamp it and it says order verified with customer, which is pretty cool. To be honest, I've actually got into a retailer one time where they didn't charge me for a product or something like that, and I didn't notice until I got home. So this is kind of smart on their behalf. Yeah, it's cool that they kind of do that, but also, the fact that they're probably trying to crack down on, people forgetting to ring in. Because what they do is if you buy like 2 or 3 edibles, they usually scan one, and then they don't change the quantity on the point of sale system. So then it just like rings it through as one. That's happened to me before because they just forgot, right? We're dealing with a bunch of stoners. So, but it's just weird to me. I can't believe that. Like, I can understand if you took a product home and you return it and it's unopened 100%, right? But to go home, especially like a product like MJ, right? Where you can just go home, open a bag, you could buy an ounce, essentially a flower, go home, try a little bit. You don't like it, take it back, and they'll return all your money, no questions asked, and then they basically just dispose of it and throw it in the trash. Like that, like this isn't Tim Hortons where they make, donuts every couple of hours and then throw them in the garbage can. Like, I understand, it's no longer fresh, but man, this just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I thought like maybe they repackaged it or something like that, but yeah, this is wild. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section below. Really excited to hear the comments in this video and your thoughts and opinions, because like I said, I was just completely blown away. I couldn't believe it. But that's going to be the first question I ask every single retailer now whenever I go into any kind of shop is, what is your return policy? So we'll see if other retailers follow suit as well. I highly doubt it, and if I were to guess, I don't think this is going to be a policy at Value Buds for much longer, but we shall see. Going to end it there, though. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.